Interesting. They haven't sent a guard into my cell before. Guard, sergeant, you may call yourself whatever you want. Your purpose is still the same, is it not? Tell me, stranger, have you ever played chess? Then you're familiar with the pieces used in the game? Pawn, rook, knight. Different titles, different shapes, different movements. But ultimately, they're all just pieces on a board without a will of their own. All expendable. I wonder, why has your player sent you in here, little pawn? What do they hope to gain? What's that? I'm sorry, could you speak up a little? It's hard to hold a conversation from such a distance. Why don't you come a little closer? Come closer, come closer, come trust me, trust me. My. You look quite concerned, Sergeant. Surely you aren't afraid of a poor, defenseless man like me. Oh, you needn't be so vigilant around me. I'm not like the other things they keep locked up in here. Is that what they told you? Well, do you believe them? And what do your eyes tell you? Do I look like a dangerous, liver-eating monster to you? Oh, now you're just trying to flatter me, aren't you? There really is no need to be so careful with your words, Sergeant. I assure you, I'm not particularly fond of human livers. That being said, I'm also not particularly fond of being mistaken for a gumiho. So please, inform your colleagues of their erroneous identification. That's right. I am a Kitsune. You would do well to remember that. How would you feel if someone mistook you for a malicious serial killer? Oh? I don't recall doing such a thing. If you saw the footage, then you also know I didn't even lift a finger. Besides, they're still alive. Or have your people already sent them into some other creature's cell to serve as dinner? Or perhaps the weight of their sins finally made them crack. They didn't seem like particularly stable individuals to begin with. I merely forced them to reflect upon their deeds, that's all. Not nearly as bad as what they did to their victims. Monsters. Murderers. No. So far, I've only had the displeasure of meeting convicts. My jailers haven't graced me with their presence yet. A wise decision. Let's just say I have some choice words to say about my abduction and imprisonment. Oh, don't worry. I have no reason to harm you, Sergeant. Not yet. Because you are not like the prisoners they sent before, nor like the soldiers who put me in this cell. Oh, I already know a lot of things about you. In fact, I think I already know you better than you know yourself. I know you're immune to what I can do. Your mind isn't malleable like everyone else's. The strings are firmly in your hands. That's why they sent you in here, isn't it? Because I can't control you. Such bravado, and yet still afraid. Worried that maybe just this once your strange immunity won't work. that you'll be at my mercy. Your surface thoughts betray you, Sergeant. You may have a mind that will never cede control to an outside force, but that doesn't prevent me from seeing the spectacle behind the curtains. Don't you think it's cruel of your supervisors to make you enter my cell like a guinea pig, Sergeant? Surely it would have been much safer to communicate with me through the intercom. Perhaps. But, if I must, there are still many ways I could attack you that do not involve mental control. I already told you why. You may wear the same uniform, but you're not like the others. The people out there wearing lab coats and body armor, they are my jailers. And you're like me, aren't you? What I mean is that you're here against your will. You only joined this organization because the alternative was death, didn't you? Do you truly think that they would let you go back to a normal civilian life after everything you've seen? Just like that? A pawn doesn't get to leave the board until it's captured, or the game is over, Sergeant. Nothing but empty promises. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear to keep you obedient and prevent you from gnawing at your leash. Liars. Don't trust. Tell me, how does it feel to be forced to interact with the same kinds of horrors that massacred your hometown? So why do you keep listening to them? Don't you deserve some peace and quiet after everything you've been through? For the greater good. Of course. Whatever it takes to convince yourself to keep going, right? I can sympathize with your desire to protect others from monsters, Sergeant. But there are many dutiful men and women in the world. Why should that burden fall to you? So you're willing to sacrifice your own peace to safeguard those who are unaware of these dangers, despite the fact that you have been forced into this position. I see. It is rare to find such virtue these days. If only your superiors cared as much about human life as you. Oh, come now, don't lie to yourself. Deep down, you know you and your squad are just as expendable as the prisoners. Pawns to be sacrificed for the sake of more important pieces. Elite or not, at the end of the day, your squad is just another toolbox to them. One hammer breaks, they replace it with another. You just happen to be the strongest tool. But if they keep using you carelessly, you'll break too, Sergeant. Any day now. I'm surprised you allow yourself to be ordered around by such callous men. What good is your virtue if you do not have the courage to stand up to them? Oh, no. I'm not calling you a coward. The fact that you entered my cell unarmed proves that you're not. I'm merely wondering why you're quietly enduring such mistreatment. I would call sending unprepared men and women into certain death while lying to them mistreatment. Yes. One can lie by omission, Sergeant. I'm sure your superiors conveniently neglected to mention that the pills they give to block and forget mental and sensory hazards also cause severe neurodegeneration. But you already knew that, didn't you? You've seen it. Doesn't it hurt knowing that even when they survive, your squad mates will never remember you? I can't imagine how you do it. Always having to pretend you're meeting them for the first time. That's why you're here now, isn't it? You need a better solution, an alternative. You need me. You need me. I must admit, it's a clever idea, But your superiors must be really desperate if they're willing to go this far. If I'm given enough freedom, then yes. My own immunity to such phenomena should protect your people for as long as they are under my control. I'm afraid there is no other way. I will have to take over their minds for it to work. But I can assure you it isn't a full possession. I merely need control over a part of each mind. Don't worry, Sergeant. They'll still have enough autonomy to control their own movements. All I would be doing is sanitizing their perception of reality. Of course, I may also have to alter and destroy any troublesome memories of particularly dangerous phenomena, but my methods are far more precise than what you're using now. No collateral damage. A valid concern? You're right. Nothing prevents me from deliberately destroying other memories that aren't dangerous. But if I did such a thing, you'd just put me back in the cell with even more security measures, and that is an outcome I do not desire. Well, I suppose you'll just have to trust me like you would trust a surgeon to cut out a tumor. Well, I can't promise anything like that. You can't expect a prisoner not to run away if given a chance. But it seems like that's a risk you are willing to take for the sake of your squad. I simply thought you'd appreciate my honesty, Sergeant. For what it's worth, I can promise I won't take anyone's life if I do try to escape. I'm not a monster. Not so fast. Before I agree to join your little squad, what's in it for me? Your superiors are mad if they think I'll just help without anything in return. If that's the case, then you can tell them to shove it up their... You think they'll listen to you? Fine. Then I have a few requests. Or rather, let's call them demands. First of all, no more tests. You've seen how they end. I don't want them sending in their lab rats anymore. They can feed those convicts to the other things they keep here for all I care. Just keep them away from me. Good. I also want more privacy. No more cameras on me 24/7. Give me a space where I don't have to worry about being watched. I may be a yokai, but I'm also a gentleman. Until now, they've been treating me more like an animal. Look, if I'm going to put myself in harm's way by helping your people survive anomalous catastrophes, the least they can do is give me a bit of privacy. I also want reading material. Magazines, newspapers, books, anything to help pass the time while I'm stuck in this cell. Preferably in Japanese, but English, French, or German are fine too. Oh, one more thing. And this one is non-negotiable. I want you to come visit me in this cell at least once a day. This is the first proper conversation I've had in a very long time, so I would very much enjoy being able to talk to you more often. If we're going to be working together, we'll have to trust each other eventually. What better way to create such trust than through frequent conversations? My name? Oh, no, it's just... You're the first person to ask me my name since I arrived here. The rest of your people just called me a number. I suppose, if it will make you trust me. Kyoshi. My name is Kyoshi. Please trust me. Oh? I assure you, whatever you're hearing isn't an attempt to get into your head. No, I understand why you think that, but I'm not poking around trying to find an opening. I already told you I don't intend to harm you. I will try to stop harassing your mind with stray thoughts and emotions. I promise. Well, you know what to tell those lab coat wearing liars waiting outside. Just make sure they understand I'm not going to help out of the kindness of my heart. Hey. Hey! Are you alright? Relax, Sergeant. I'm not going to hurt you. You collapsed all of a sudden. Are you feeling alright? A spatial anomaly. So I wasn't hallucinating. From my perspective, the room was getting larger, as if the walls were moving away from me. You didn't take a single step, and yet it suddenly looked like you were so far away. I thought the isolation was finally getting to me. Yes, I noticed, but my cell doors should be the least of your concerns right now. Whatever wards your people kept up to limit the reach of my powers are down too. And judging by the chaos and fear I can sense out there right now, it's fair to assume the rest of your prisoners are no longer confined to their cells either. I'm well aware that this is my chance to escape, Sergeant. But I'm not the type of person to abandon someone in need of aid. If I leave you to fend for yourself, you're likely to meet your end here. You should stay here with me. For the moment, this cell is probably the safest place in this facility. Stay with me. Are you sure? I have a feeling that pretty much everything in this place has been set loose. Unless you're immune to gnashing teeth and crushing claws. Hey, hold on now. You're not going to go out there all on your own, right? You're unarmed, Sergeant. You may be immune to mental control, but that won't help you if you get attacked. At least let me accompany you so I can keep you safe from physical harm. Oh, please. I'm a yokai. I'm quite capable of holding my own in a fight with anything inhuman. Good. If you had said no, I would have just followed you anyway. Oh? But I'm part of your squad now, aren't I? I'm just following orders and trying to keep my superior alive like a good soldier, you know? Yes, of course. Now then. Lead the way, Sergeant.